Hey, welcome to the Diabetes Revolution. I'm David Baker. I'm going to go over a couple quick stories of the latest diabetic news that kind of come out. I've got two stories. They're both from Zero Hedge. And the first one is a new study reveals Ozempic is linked to potentially blinding eye condition. All right, so if you take Ozempic or you know somebody that does, you may want to tune into this, and we'll go over the story that what the study showed. But first, I want to go over this other story that came out on June 26th. And I'm going to paraphrase this article, but basically the title is Intermittent Fasting Outperforms Diabetes Drugs. All right. Now this came out on Friday, and it shows that intermittent fasting may control blood sugar more effectively than popular diabetes medication for people with type 2 diabetes. All right. So I'm going to read on here. And it says participants on a 5-2 intermittent fasting diet, eating normally for 5 days and reducing calories for 2, had better blood sugar levels and greater weight loss than those on standard diabetes drug. Then this suggests that dietary changes could be a potential method for managing diabetes. There's a lot of studies out there that shows that it works 100%. Well, not 100%, but it works really good. All right. Now, some of the key findings here, I'm going to skim over this, is that they had over 405 people, so it wasn't a real small study, and that one group following the 5-2 fasting method, and the other one taking metformin and Jardiance. All right, so those on the 5-2 intermittent fasting had 2 non-consecutive fasting days each week in which they consumed low-calorie meal replacement product, limiting calories to 500 calories for women and 600 for men. And then on the other 5 days, they ate their usual breakfast, lunch, and they had different meal replacement products for dinner while monitoring their overall calorie intake. Okay, so they did this for 16 weeks and said participants on the 5-2 intermittent fasting diet experienced significant drop in A1C levels. Okay, and he goes on to say that the key measures of blood sugar control with that A1C, the fasting group had an average reduction of 1.9%. compared to 1.6% with the metformin group and 1.5% with the Jardiance group. All right. And then it goes on to the weight loss part. So the study reports significant weight loss for those on the intermittent fasting diet. Participants in the 5-2 group, intermittent fasting group, they averaged about 21 pounds lost compared to 12 pounds with the metformin group and 13 pounds with the Jardiance group. So they lost more weight with intermittent fasting, more than metformin and more than with the Jardiance. And they go on to say that it could be an effective intervention for diabetes. And then they follow up with a couple things from Dr. Fung. He's really good. He goes into the intermittent fasting like he's like the main guy for it. And he goes on to say in the article that they quoted him, it's nothing more or less than giving your body a break and letting it burn off the energy that you've stored away because of the natural thing you do if you store too much. And then he goes on to another quote from Dr. Andrew Dimowich, which I don't know if I said that right, an endocrinologist with Johns Hopkins. He said, well, the studies performed on people with type 2 diabetes have shown that intermittent fasting can lead to weight loss, improvement in glycemic control, and even in some cases remission of diabetes. All right, I like that. All right, so now what you've been waiting for with the Ozempic, okay? So this new study reveals Ozempic linked to potentially blinding eye condition. All right. So this came on July 4th of this year, and it's going on. I'm going to paraphrase this one too a little bit, but it's basically saying that Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly, their stocks are declining a little bit after this study came out. And this came from the journal of JAMA, Ophthalmology, and basically people on Ozempic and similar drugs have an elevated risk for developing this potentially blinding eye condition. And this is called non-arteritic or anterior ischemic optic neuropathy. Okay? And that's basically the name of it on the study too. And it says it found people with diabetes who have been prescribed Ozempic by the physician and then filled the prescription more than 4 times are more likely to be diagnosed with this disease. And those who were overweight or had obesity and were prescribed this drug were more than 7 times likely to get diagnosed. Now, it goes on by Dr. Rizzo, MD, Director of Neuro-Ophthalmology Service. He says that this is a very rare disease, but they found a correlation between the time that people had this, were prescribed Ozempic, and then they came down with this disease. And so to kind of boil it down for you, what the article says on there, this is a new risk factor. So that they are advising that maybe the doctors need to start adding this to the risks associated with this drug. And so they can kind of give informed consent. Hey, what's the benefits and risk of this medication when they start describing it? So all medications, no matter what it is going to have some kind of unwanted outcome. It's always going to have cause and effect. So you always want to go over this with your physician. And if you don't want to take drugs, there's other ways of doing it. So if you need more tips or need help with your diabetes, go to the diabetesrevolution.com. We got a bunch of resources for you there. And next time they come out with some more studies, I'll bring it up to you. Until then, have a good day, okay?